Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Ed from Elemental Healing, and this is my series on feelings about feelings. And today we're going to be discussing two primal emotions dating way back to our survival: fear and trust. In our feelings wheel, we're going to be discussing afraid and trusting. So, many thousands of years ago, this pair of fear and trust is what protected us. See, fear is what warned us of danger, and trust is what tells us when it's safe to rest. One of them activates and the other one soothes. Together, they shape the sense of the safety in the world. There is fear that saved tribes across the entire existence of humanity. I want you to imagine that our ancestors are on a moonlit plain, a faint rustle in the tall grass, too rhythmic to be the wind. In a blink, pupils widen, muscles tighten, and the heart pounds. That's fear. The amygdala fires before the conscious brain even knows why. Every sense sharpens, ready to freeze, flee, or fight. A big cat then steps into the clearing with golden eyes glinting. One person's gasp alerts all the others and they scatter to safety. Fear just saved that tribe. This reflex wasn't weakness, it was intelligence coded into the body. See, the cold hands, racing heart, and shallow breath, they're all signals preparing us to survive the hunt or avoid being hunted. Once the threat passed, trust is what allowed the body to return to rest. Families coming out of the caves, fires rekindled, children laughing again. The food is secure, the kids are safe, it's safe to return home. Without trust, everything would be regarded as reckless and we would never recover. For children, building safety and confidence is really important. See, for children, fear is the very first request for protection. It's the cry in the middle of the night, the clinging to a parent's leg, the hiding behind a chair. They're all ways of saying, please keep me safe. When characters respond to them with picking them up, soothing them, or co-regulating, they're the caregivers. So the child's nervous system then learns my fear brings connection. The brain wires that into secure attachment. When caregivers dismiss or mock the fear, don't be a baby. The child then learns the opposite. Danger is mine to face alone. That becomes hypervigilance, anxiety, or shutdown in adulthood. Trust forms through repetition. Every time a parent comes when called, the child's amygdala quietly sends a little message and quiets them a little faster. Polyvagal theory calls this ventral safety. This is the body's sense that it's okay to reconnect. John Gottman found the same principle in couples. When one partner turns towards rather than away from a bid for reassurance, cortisol drops and the heart rate variably widens. That's trust made visible in the data. In modern misfires, because we have the ancient alarms in a new world. In modern life, fear fires constantly, but rarely for lions and saber-toothed tigers. We feel it about rejection, deadlines, news, and finances. Our brains treat a text message like it's a predator's growl. The sympathetic nervous system doesn't know the difference. Chronic fear floods the body with cortisol, narrows attention, and keeps us scanning for threat. Eventually, the system can't tell safe from unsafe, and therefore everything feels risky. And that's where anxiety lives and breathes. It's an ancient alarm going off in a modern apartment. In REBT terms, fear often then grows from this belief. It's saying to yourself, I can't handle this. But when we replace it with, this is uncomfortable, but I can handle it, then the wave starts to settle. That's not denial, that's regulated realism. We need to be able to teach the body safety by integration and grounding. So let's help the body learn safety right now. Sit tall but relaxed. Place one hand on your heart and the other on your lower belly. Inhale through your nose over 4, letting both hands rise slightly. Hold for 2, and then exhale slowly for 6, feeling your shoulders drop. As you breathe, remind yourself, in this moment I am safe enough. The vagus nerve hears. They hear that through the length of your exhale. Heart rate will slow, digestion will restart, and the brain will release oxytocin and serotonin, which is the chemicals for trust. If you use biofeedback, you can see this shift as your heart rhythm smooths and your coherence returns. The physiology of fear and the physiology of trust share the same exact hardware, only the settings need changed. Healthy repair in a modern society. Well, I had a man that I had worked with who had severe fear around conflict, and when his wife raised his voice, he would freeze and emotionally disappear. During therapy, we had practiced noticing the first physical cue and clue that he wasn't feeling okay. The tightness in his chest, and the grounded with his breath before the mind spiraled is what helped him learn how to gain that control. One day, mid-argument, he caught it. He had put his hand on his chest and he had said, "I want to stay in this conversation, but I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. Can we slow down?" She listened and nodded softly, and then they continued calmly. See, fear became communication. Trust was rebuilt whenever they talked with each other, not by logic, but by regulated presence. When I feel fear rising, I notice my breath shorten and my eyes dart for exits. That's my ancient body doing its job. I thank it quietly. You're trying to protect me. And then I breathe into my belly and I remind myself, I am safe enough for now. That's how fear becomes trust, by giving it permission to finish its wave. This week, I'd like you to practice noticing your body's first signal of fear. It might be a touched stomach. It might be a tight touched stomach. It might be a racing heart or a sudden urge to escape. I want you to pause. Breathe in for 4, out for 6, and remind yourself, I'm safe enough in this moment. Every time you do that, you're retraining the oldest system in your body to trust the present instead of the past. In our next video, we're going to explore surprise and curiosity, the reflex that wakes us up and the instinct that moves us forward.